Hello to all of you on Match Point. Dr. Adnan says you welcome on the Match Point with lot new news of cricket and football. What's happening around the world as we have seen recently. Global T20 has gone out, has finished in style in Canada, and then the 2018 Football World Cup, the biggest extravaganza, has been recently finished in Russia, seeing the French men going on the top of the world second time, and we will discuss obviously then. And then the biggest news for the Pakistan fans as a main headline, that the Pakistan sets up an amazing record of the 5 amazing bilateral ODI series whitewash, and Pakistan doing the most of all while doing them against Zimbabwe. First of all, when they did it in the style in 2002, and then 2003 they did it against Bangladesh, and then 4 against New Zealand, and then against Bangladesh, and then against Sri Lanka, and this time the recent enemies were Zimbabwe, and the recent poor nation was Zimbabwe, who got under Pakistan in the 5-match defeat in a ODI series, a new record. Pakistan beat Zimbabwe by 244 runs in a 1 match, in which Pakistan, massive total they have put on the board, 399, which is the biggest total. I will tell you later on in the program. 399 they made, breaking the old Asian record of 397 of Sri Lanka in the Cricket World Cup in the 1996. But the overall world record of 400 plus of the South Africa has not been beaten. Imam was 113, Fakhar was 210 not out, wow, and Azhar Ali 50, and Zimbabwe was all out in a 155 in a 4th match of the ODI series. Fakhar Zaman became the first ever Pakistani to hit the magic figure of 200 runs. The next major headline from the sports desk: Sri Lanka have now lost their last 10 ODIs against South Africa. Very bad track record for Sri Lanka. Their last win was coming back on the 9th of July 2014 at Peleke, and till that time Sri Lanka is searching for a favor in the ODI. But in the test series, Sri Lanka beat South Africa in a 3-match series with a 2-1 with an amazing bowling of Kashaf Maharaj, and we will discuss in the program what Maharaj did 3 weeks back, and what happened in the match actually, and how many records tumbled during that match. The next big headline, that the West Indies team beat Bangladesh 2-0 in a test series, and then the ODI series they are waiting to repeat the same feat what happened over there. It's the most interesting series right now, which I want to discuss in the headline, is the last but not the least, England versus India. England are the host and India are on their away series, and the same Indian team, Virat Kohli's champion team, in the ODI series they have been gone now, and we have been waiting impatiently that what will happen next in the test series. A very exciting and thrilling matches are going to be held on the home of cricket, Lords, and the Old Trafford in the Manchester and the Birmingham, the stadium which is waiting for this big one. But I want to tell you that finally England beat India in the ODIs with a 3-2. England registering their 8th consecutive bilateral ODI series win, and they finally finished the India's streak of 9 consecutive series win, and India are out of the business in that winning streak. So England are the one who stopped the Virat Kohli's Indian team streak. The CPL season is in full swing in August and September. Guyana Amazon Warriors have appointed Shoaib Malik as a captain in the 2018 CPL League, which is being held from 8th of August to 16th of September 2018. Next big news from the CPL, St. Lucia Stars have announced that the Mark Chapman of New Zealand and Mohammad Sami will be in the team while joining the squad, and they will replace Roman Reis and Hussain Talat of Pakistan, both from Islamabad United, and they will be featuring now for the St. Lucia. Might be we will see that might be they may able to turn the clock for the St. Lucia, who are having a very bad table and a very bad series so far in the last 6 years or so. Most ever runs in the ODI series, I want to tell you in the headline, as I told you about the most exciting series going on. Virat Kohli 558 versus South Africa in 6th innings in February 2018. So this is the most massive cumulation of 558. Now Fakhar Zaman, with the help of this double century and the amazing run feat and an amazing century in the same very tour, he is on the 515 versus Zimbabwe in only 5 innings in July 2018. So 515 and 558. He is only some runs behind Virat Kohli. Rohit Sharma, another proud Indian, is third on this list with a 491 versus Australia in 6th innings back in 2013. So, as I told you that the Frenchman finally winning the World Cup of football in Russia, we will start the show of Match Point from this very news. France became the new world champions, but the most fascinating teams and the heart-touching moments of this World Cup was Croatian loss to the Frenchman. Even you were not supporting Croatia, or you were the fan of the Croatia, or you were supporting Croatia, or you were not supporting Croatia, everyone who was following them was not happy what happened with Croatia. Obviously, all credit to the Frenchman, all credit to the Pepe and a lot of brilliant teenagers from the France to win the World Cup. But it was a very hard luck and the heartbreaking moments for us which we saw in this very World Cup in the FIFA. And the amazing Croatian team has did it in the style against the Englishmen and making their dream thrashed of the 1966 World Cup Grand Finale when they won it for the first time at Wembley. And this was the time when it was the moment that English team could have duplicated the victory of the Wembley Stadium, but all in vain. But the Croatian team had put the brakes on the English victory when the Mandzukic, I was telling you about the Mario Mandzukic, who became the overnight hero for the Croatia, and with an amazing header in the semi-final of the Football World Cup 2018, he put Croatia into the grand finale, and English team and their dream was shattered and they were out of the World Cup. So Mario Mandzukic, Croatian team, when reached to the final, and they did it in the style, and the extra time strike made him the hero. But this is the cruel game of football, that the one overnight head made him a hero and another head in another night made him a #1 villain and the #1 of the Croatia, because Mario Mandzukic, the final came to be a nightmare when he became the first ever player to score a own goal in the grand finale of the World Cup football. In the history of World Cup football, none of the players have scored the own goal. We have seen number of times scoring the own goals, as I was telling you in the opening programs of the FIFA World Cup, that in the past we have seen some of the very horrible results of the own goal. Then one of the Colombians, Andre Escobar, in the 1994 with a cruel header against the USA, and USA reaching to the second round, and the Colombian Andre Escobar was killed because of that when he reached back home. So one of the nightmares, his country was not leading on the front, and right from that beginning we saw when the first goal happened against the Croatian team against the Frenchmen, and they were under that pressure of final and the big game, and the Frenchmen were obviously the better team and the better teenagers to handle the pressure of grand finale in the final game. So Mario Mandzukic became the first ever player in the history of World Cup to score at both the ends. Yes, it is true, Mario Mandzukic scored the own goal as well as the goal against Frenchmen, and he became the only man who has scored at both ends now in the final. And this was now the challenge which was happening in the grand finale and the great final of the FIFA World Cup football, France versus Croatia. You didn't score, I will score. You didn't hit, I will hit. And if you remember these words, these are the words of the Michel Ballack and the Ronaldo of, not the Cristiano Ronaldo, Ronaldo of Brazilian Ronaldo, and then in the 2002 the Golden Ball winner Oliver Kahn, who was the featuring goalkeeper and the skipper of the German team. And that time he said to the Ronaldo, because he was the best defense and Ronaldo was the best attacker, and they said, if you won't hit, I will hit. Ronaldo said to the same thing to him. He was not having the goal in the whole football World Cup, and in the final he conceded 2 goals against the Ronaldo. So the Frenchman Kylian Mbappe is the only second teenager. He said, if you won't hit, I will score, Mandzukic, and he did the same. Mbappe is the second teenager to score in the World Cup final since 1958 by the great Pelé. If you remember, the 1958 was the first time when the Brazilian team winning the World Cup in style under the Pelé, and then making the history with the back-to-back matches in the 1962. So he was the teenager who scored, and now this Kylian Mbappe is the other Frenchman who scored, is a teenager in the finals of the World Cup. For the first time since 1974, there have been 3 goals which have been scored in the FIFA World Cup grand finale in the first half. Before that, it was only happening back in the 1974 when the France's Beckenbauer team, Germans were playing, and in that match, in that exciting, thrilling finish, there were 3 goals in the first half of the FIFA World Cup final. And the only team, because the score was 2-1, with the help of that second penalty, even the Croatian team has leveled the game 1-1, but then the second goal was scored on the penalty kick, and the score was 2-1. 3 goals were scored, and that was the goal which I saw and observed, that the Croatian team was under the pressure in the first half, and that pressure has never been relieved till the end of the game, when the game went to the 90th minute. So it was very interesting that the team who is conceding goal first, because with the help of own goal, unfortunate own goal by Mandzukic, Croatian team was the one who was conceding the goal at this FIFA World Cup grand finale. So the team, after conceiving a goal and after going 1 down, has never won the World Cup football. This is a very amazing stat. This happened only once. When was that? You will know, because this is Match Point by Dr. Adnan. The year was 1930 and the champion team was Uruguay. Uruguay, who has a very good run in this current World Cup also. Uruguay is the team which went under 1 goal, and after conceding the goal against Argentina in the first ever World Cup in 1930, finally Uruguay won the World Cup. So this is the only time, that was the only luckiest time in the World Cup history when they remained victorious and they were the champs. So unfortunately, Croatian team couldn't achieve the same feat which the Uruguay achieved in the first ever World Cup. France have become the new world champion of the football, and the future is very bright for the France. How it is the future is very bright, as I told you, the Kylian Mbappe and the lot of teenagers who were scoring, and it was absolutely thriller, and it was fascinating to see these young guns firing for the France. Mbappe is 19 years old, Dembélé is 21 years old, Hernandez is 22 years old, Pavard is 22 years old, Mendy is 23 years old, Samuel Umtiti is 24 years old, Varane is 25 years old, and Pogba is 25 years old. And this amazing picture I am showing you, see that when the French team winning the World Cup in 1998, where were these guys? And please look out on the last picture, that where was that French star was, who is right now currently in the picture. So highest aggregate goals in the World Cup grand finale. Those 7 goals are the maximum goals which happened ever in the World Cup grand finale, and those were 7 goals in the 1958 World Cup, the same World Cup where I was telling you that the Pelé was the youngest and the first ever teenager to score in the final game. So after the 1958 World Cup, this was the second highest time as a goal aggregate which was scored in the FIFA World Cup Grand Finale. And it was not the single time, because the 6 goals have been scored after the 7 being scored in the 1958. So 6 goals, a track record of the maximum goals in the World Cup Grand Finale. 1930, 1938, 1966 World Cup Grand Finale at the Wembley, when the English team winning this event, the prestigious event for the first ever time, and now back in 2018. And 5 goals were scored in 1954, 1970 and 1986, when Diego Maradona crushed Germans at his own will back about 21 years ago. Luka Modric, I want to praise for one man. It's a very hard luck to see the Mandzukic and the Luka Modric. Luka Modric, take a bow for the man. 4th time ever in a World Cup history, player who lost the final wins the golden ball. A huge day for the Luka Modric. And the Didier Deschamps, who was the proud French manager, he became the 3rd man in the history of the World Cup to winning the World Cup after Francis Beckenbauer as a captain and then as a manager. And now it's a time before the break for the killer factor. So music is on for the killer factor. Killer factor is associated with this FIFA World Cup. Croatian Ivan Perisic covered a total of 72.5 kilometers during this FIFA World Cup 2018. He traveled a distance of nearly 73 kilometers, more than any player in this tournament. However, he is still short of the German Thomas Muller's effort, who covered 84 kilometers during the 2014 World Cup in Brazil alone. If you see overall in this World Cup, Perisic, Croatia 72.543 kilometer, and Rakitic from Croatia 72.525 kilometer. Incidentally, in the FIFA World Cup semi-final versus England, Perisic's teammate Marcelo Brozovic covered a distance of 16.4 kilometer, which is the shortest ever distance covered by the footballer in any of the grand events of the FIFA World Cup. So lot more news to come. We have to cover the Pakistan tour of Zimbabwe, and then obviously the news of Sri Lanka versus South Africa. We have to take a short break, and stay tuned to the match point. I will be right back. So welcome back after the break. You are watching Match Point. I'm your host Dr. Adnan, and we are here discussing now after the break the Pakistan tour of Zimbabwe. For the Zimbabwe, it was a nightmare. For the Pakistan, it was a morale boosting victory and a very big win. And the Pakistan's big practice towards the big one, and before the World Cups, it was a time to check their rhythm. It was time to check their openers. It was time to check their combinations, that which combo should be better in the opponents when you will meet with the likes of India and Australia and the other opponents. So Pakistan claimed their second biggest ODI win ever. Shadab Khan taking 4 for 28 and helping clean up Zimbabwe for 155 after Fakhar Zaman's 210. Would you believe 210 not out had guided them to their highest ODI victory, and ODI score of 399 for 1 in a 244 run victory. Fakhar Zaman became the 6th man to score the ODI double-handed on a record-breaking day for Pakistan. Fakhar Zaman became the first Pakistani batsman to score a double-handed for the Pakistan. All of you know that back in 1997 in Chennai, it was a brilliant effort by Saeed Anwar against Kumble, Prasad and Srinath, all the leading bowlers of the India in their home, and coming to the billions, but at the 194 he became unlucky when he was caught out back by the Sachin Tendulkar, and he was unable to make the 200, and so Fakhar Zaman got the opportunity and he became the first ever Pakistani to touch the magic figure, because from the India now magic figure has been touched various times by the various players, including their icon Sachin Tendulkar and Rohit Sharma more than once. Fakhar Zaman became the first ever Pakistani and also scoring the historic 200 runs on the 156 balls. And don't forget, that he remained unbeaten for this. Interestingly, in a year 2018, if I compare him with the greats, obviously one and the only Virat Kohli, the great Indian man, innings 22 and the runs he made 1181, not out 4. If I compare with Fakhar Zaman, innings 22 and amazingly 1181 runs and with the 4 not outs. This was such an amazing feat which should boost the performance of Fakhar Zaman. Pakistan's biggest ODI in terms of runs, I just want to tell you, as I told you, the second highest, because that's why I said the second highest, because the biggest Pakistan's victory is versus Ireland in 2016. That was with a 255 runs, and now with a 244 runs against Zimbabwe is the second biggest victory, while 233 runs versus Bangladesh in 2000 is the third biggest with a 2002 they made against Sri Lanka, 217 runs victory, and against Kenya in 2011, 205 runs. So these are the biggest 5 victories in the history of Pakistan cricket since they started out the pattern. The partnership which happened between that historic match in the 4th match of the series, as Pakistan whitewashed them 5-0 in the 4th match. Fakhar Zaman and Imam ul Haq, Pakistan's biggest partnership in the ODIs ever, while the previous highest, if you are remembering, I remember that match very well, when 263 made by Amir Sohail and in Zaman ul Haq versus New Zealand in 1994, and Pakistan won that match also in the style in their home. Fakhar and Imam broke the record of largest ever partnership ever in the history of ODI. I will tell you the detail. The previous highest was 286, that one between the Sanath Jayasuriya and Upal Tharanga in 2006 versus England, while Fakhar and Imam now the highest for Pakistan for the first wicket in the ODI cricket. The previous highest record was Imran Farhat and Mohammad Hafiz, that was also against Zimbabwe, and that was 228 not out back in 2011. In a ODI series, a first match, I tell you, I just want to share some percentage with you. You should be proud of these amazing firing guns from Pakistan. Imam making 30.84 runs scored in that match. Second match, Fakhar making 30.07 runs for that respective match. When we came to the third match, Fakhar making 31.61 runs of the entire match. And the fourth match, Fakhar making 46.52% runs of the whole Pakistan cricket team. That's why we say that Fakhar Zaman beat Zimbabwe in a style in the match. Pakistan total runs in the series were 971, while Fakhar total runs in the series were 430, and Fakhar has scored about 46.74% runs for the Pakistan cricket team in this series against Zimbabwe. In any partnership, if I go overall, most runs accumulated by a pair in a bilateral ODI series, 704 by Fakhar and Imam versus Zimbabwe in 2018. 590 was Imran Farhat and Yasir Hamid versus New Zealand in 2003, and Shekhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma versus Australia 533 back in 2013. So these were some amazing run feast of the Asian batsmen, what they did it against their opponents. Fakhar Zaman 210 not out was man of the match, and Zimbabwe was overall 155, and they lost simply to the Fakhar Zaman by 55 runs. In other words, Fakhar Zaman at that time needed to score 20 runs from 3 innings to become the fastest man to get the 1000 runs in the ODI innings, and whose record he was going to break, only one and the only Sir Alexander Vivian Richards from Antigua. And I will tell you after the break that did he beat that record or not, or how he has done that or not. Balls taken to score for making the 200 in the men's ODI, I want to compare. 138 balls by the Chris Gale when he made the double-hundred, 140 balls was by Virender Sehwag, and 147 balls were taken by the great Sachin Tendulkar, and 148 balls were taken by Fakhar Zaman, while 151 and 156 respectively 2 times taken by Rohit Sharma, and 152 balls were taken to make the 200 by the Martel Guptill of New Zealand. Now if I tell you the highest score taken by the cricketers to achieve this 200. What was the highest score? Might be Fakhar in that list is on the quite low, but just as a stats I want to tell you that how it happened in the history of cricket. Most of all, Rohit Sharma 264, the topmost score versus Sri Lanka in 2014, 237 not out by Martin Guptill versus Windies in 2015, and then 219 made by Virender Sehwag versus West Indies in 2011, and then Chris Gayle versus Zimbabwe 215 in 2015, and now Fakhar Zaman making 210 against Zimbabwe. But innings taken to score to 200 in men's cricket, this is now very interesting. If you got my point that how many innings you have taken to achieve this feat. Rohit Sharma 103 innings to achieve the feat of 200. Martin Guptill and Rohit Sharma both took 103 matches to score the double 100. Virender Sehwag played 234 games before scoring 200. Chris Gayle took 261 matches, and Sachin Tendulkar before making the 200 he took 431 matches. But do you have any idea how many matches Fakhar has taken to score the 200? 7. Would you believe? Take a bow. 17 matches to score the double-headed is the lowest margin of matches taken by any player ever in the cricket history to score the double ton in this very format of the game in the limited over internationals.
So now I will tell you the highest individual score when playing away from the home. Fakhar Zaman leads this list, and all the Pakistani players are the champion of playing away from the home. So as you can very well guess that what are the highest scores when playing away from the home. Fakhar Zaman playing away from the home in Zimbabwe, making 210 not out. Saeed Anwar back in 1997 playing and making 194 runs away from the home in Chennai in India, and Viv Richards in England in 1984 making 184 not out away from the home, and the Martin Guptill again in the England 189 not out in 2013, and Shane Watson making 185 not out against Bangladesh in 2011. And now the time has come to tell you about the killer factor, so music is on. So the ex-Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni, MSD, is fond of traveling along with his family, with his wife, with his kids, with his daughter, and he is loving her like anything, and he is spending a lot of time with the family. But do you have any idea that Mahendra Singh Dhoni, MSD, has spent more time with the family or with someone else? And you will be surprised to know that Mahendra Singh Dhoni has not passed more time with his family. He has not passed more time with his vice captain. He has not passed more time with his top batsman. Mahendra Singh Dhoni in his life has spent more time with the tail enders of the India than any other person in this universe. Wow! So we will be back and we will be discussing about the Pakistan bowling. We will be discussing about the Sri Lanka versus South Africa, and then we will be going towards the closing of the show. So we will have to take a short break, and I hope you won't go away. You are watching Match Point, and this is Dr. Adnan with you, your host, and I will be right back. Welcome back after the break. You are watching Match Point, and we were discussing about the Pakistan tour of Zimbabwe and the Pakistan's away series. After the heroics of the batsmen and the heroic of Pakistani batsmen, and especially Fakhar Zaman, now it's a time to tell the tale about the Pakistani fast bowlers, for which Pakistan has been famous over the decades and the decades and the decades, when these bowlers are winning the games for Pakistan. And this time none other but another left armour around the wicket, and he is ADNAN Khan, who became the 6th Pakistani bowler in the ODI history to take the 100 wickets and to reach the milestone 6th fastest Pakistani and became the 20th Pakistani bowler to achieve the overall 100 ODI wickets for the Pakistan. Quickest to get the 100 ODI wickets is Saklan Mushtaq on the 53 games, Fakhar Yunus 59, Shoaib Akhtar 60, Rana Naveedul Hasan 65, Umar Gul 67, and last but not the least Anchorperson Khan on the 68 games. Pakistan's largest wins in terms of balls remaining was 241 versus Zimbabwe. This is the maximum if I compare with the history that how many balls were remaining when Pakistan winning the game. 241 balls remaining versus Zimbabwe is the highest aggregate which Pakistan ever got. 206 balls remaining in the 1990 in a Sharjah Cup grand finale when Pakistan winning in a style, and 202 versus Netherlands in 2002 the match was played. Fakhar Zaman, I told you before going to the break, I will tell you that was he the fastest to get the 1000 runs and did he achieve that feat? Yes, he has did it in style. Fakhar Zaman is the fastest to reach the 1000 runs in the ODI history, and he has done it in 18 matches, and whose record he has broken, the ever great and the evergreen Sir Alexander Viv Richards. 21 matches he took back in the 80s to achieve the feat of 1000 runs, and the average strike of Fakhar Zaman was also more than Sir Vivian Richards, and the strike rate was 75.50, amazing and a brilliant strike rate of over 100, and it was absolutely amazing. But now at the end it will not be great to go without discussing the Sri Lanka versus South Africa game, in which first of all South Africa beating Sri Lanka, and then in the test series Sri Lanka beating South Africa, but the last match won by South Africa. But the match to discuss was the match number 2, in which the Kashaf Maharaj, the proud bowler, he was the hero. He became the 9th spinner in the test cricket history to claim 8 or more wickets on the opening day of the test match. He is the first South African to do so, and the previous best for the South Africa, if I tell you, he took 6 wickets for 17 runs, and he was Aubrey Faulkner versus England at Leeds in July 1907, nearly a century ago or more than a century ago. Kashaf Maharaj now holds the best figures by a South African bowlers in an innings bowling away from the home, and he crossed Alan Donald's 8 for 71 in 1995 against Zimbabwe in Harare. Alan Donald's record is now being broken and shattered by the Kashaf Maharaj. Second best figures by the South African in an innings anywhere, not in the South Africa, anywhere in the world, and taking 11 of the first 12 opposition wickets to the fall in a test. This has been happened only twice in the cricket history. The first time it was happening, that was 19, yes, Jim Laker doing it in style in Manchester versus Australia in 1956, and now Kashaf Maharaj versus Sri Lanka in their home Colombo in 2018. At the end, it's a time to present for you the killer factor. Would you believe the third killer factor of the match point? Raise the music and dim the lights. Killer factor is coming on. In a 141 years of test history, only 2 left arm bowlers have taken 9 wickets in an innings. Only happens 2 times. Kashaf Maharaj versus Sri Lanka and Rangana Herath versus Pakistan in 2014. And both time the ground was same. Sinhalli Sports Club, SCC. What an amazing feast for this ground. This ground has seen falling 11 out of 12 wickets. And this is one of the amazing grounds. Best bowling figures by the left arm bowlers in the test. If I go 9 for 127 Rangana Herath for Sri Lanka versus Pakistan at Colombo in 2014, and now 9 for 129 by Kashaf Maharaj on this very ground, St. Helens Sports Club, but this time it was against Sri Lanka, and this is 2018. Now all Kashaf Maharaj had to do for South Africa to score a 50 in the game and to become an overnight hero for the South Africa. But unfortunately, in the match-winning game for Sri Lanka, he couldn't do this and he couldn't achieve the feat. And best bowling figures, if I say, in the losing cause in the test, this is very amazing. 9 for 102 Gupte in 1958 for India. Losing cause Jack Norrigia in 1975, 9 for 85. And Kapil Dev in 1983, 9 for 83 is a losing cause, is the lucky bowlers over the time in the history. Kashaf Maharaj 8 for 116 is a third bowler after Murli and Rengana Heras to claim 8+ wickets in a test innings in Sri Lanka, because Murli has done it 3 times in a style. None of them is better than Muralidharan when it is doing the magic, and magic especially in the Sri Lanka. Obviously he is the brain behind the magic when the games have been happening in the Sri Lanka. So this is it. Next time where I will bring the match point, and very important interesting test matches results would have been in front of us. We will discuss the Lord's match of India versus England, and we will obviously discuss the Edgbaston match and the Birmingham match of India versus England. We will see that whether the Tigers of Virat Kohli have been able to turn the England's fortune away or not. But for this, you will have to tune to our show. So from here, it's all over, and Dr. Adnan says you goodbye. Take care and bye-bye.